Welcome to my YouTube channel. This time I present you a build of a MiniITX computer, completely passively cooled with an Intel N100 processor. We have some components we use. This is a Wlan kit from Asrock, for the Deskmini area. 16 gigabytes of crucial DDR4 3200 megahertz RAM, and a Kingston NV2 with 2 terabyte of space. You for sure can go with a smaller one, but I want this space. The motherboard is a Asus Prime N100. I cut off the rest. N100, it's passively cooled, so this will be a complete silent PC. And for the case, I choose to go with the Intertech ITX 601 case. This is just a ITX case with no USB on the front, but instead of that I have around much openings where the air can go through and can keep the passively cooled N100 nice and cool. We have in the box the case and the power supply and this little adapter. And for the case, you see the openings, the grills on all the sides, so it's really good for the air. They can go out on the top, and I recommend to put this PC in the vertical orientation, though that the heat can go away from the processor in the direct way. The power supply is such a notebook brick. It is nothing special, 60 watts. This will be plenty enough for the N100, which runs at a TDP from 6 watts. And we have the power cord, and you've seen the adapter in the beginning that is needed to make the connection to the case. So power supply also passively cooled. And you see I have problems with this little screwdriver, so I recommend not to try casing screws to screw with hard drives screwdriver. Use a proper one to open them. This will not work out with a small one. A little bit about the processor. The processor is a 4-core, 4-thread processor. It's based on the, I guess, 12th generation energy efficiency cores, and they are really performant in single core, and 4 of them are okay in multi-core, I would say. It is nothing to compare with a big CPU with performance cores, but it is much faster and feels much faster than the old Celeron chips. What you see here is a brick for mounting 2 hard drives. The motherboard only has one serial ATA connector, so you just can mount one. But I decided to go with a large NVMe SSD to not use 2.5 inch drives. So I will let out this bridge for the 2.5 inch drives completely, because the middle part is solid and this sits exactly above the CPU with a passive cooler. and I guess for the airflow it's really necessary to let this thing out. Go with a big NVMe SSD, what you need, and just with this one drive. Don't use this bracket. Yeah, we have some extras like I don't know, rubber feet for the case. I don't need such things, so I just let it away. These are the cables. Nothing special, as I said, just one USB, serial ATA connector on the main board. You have the possibility to use two here with the cables, so later on we will mount these cables accordingly that they don't go over the CPU and influence the heat flow. Now the big star of the build, the Asus N100 mainboard, and it comes with the plate for the back plate and a cable for serial ATA, and some documentation. The screws for the NVMe are also in, also the screws for the second slot where I mount the wireless LAN card. Yeah, these two screws are in the box, so don't worry, you need to buy extra screws. The beginning of the build is to fit the mainboard in, so I start with the back plate and try to mount them. It's every time a little bit tricky to get them in. First, it is necessary to have the right orientation. Upside down, downside up. Look at your mainboard, then you know where the connectors must be. The mainboard is on the bottom of the case. So here in this, with this mainboard, we have the audio slots on the right side, and that's relatively easy, and that is our orientation for the backplate. And here you see the cooler. It's smaller than I thought. I hope it will do his job, but I believe if the CPU is just running on 6 watts, it can do. Hope that the summer months actual with the hot temperatures don't influence it too much, but we will see later. For now, it is the orientation which I need to know and to fit in this backplate. It's a little bit tricky to press them in right. You need to have them really snaggy between their little dots on it. It must go in the little dots that it sits far away or in the right position to bring it in. And this one I don't bring in on this way. This is way too small to work. What you see where the cable goes on is a power supply, or the internal part of the power supply, and this will not go in. I don't know the English words of the parts of the power supply, but they stand much too far in the case that I can move the mainboard in and out. It will fit, this proves this, but yeah, I guess I need to screw out the power supply first. Yes, this seems like a solution. It's just mounted with these two screws on the left and right side, and I hope this will give me enough space to fit it in. Like you see, the backplate falls down, so I have not mounted the backplate correct. We need a second try. But now we have enough space to the front side to mount in the mainboard. But the power supply plug on the mainboard is also on the front side. It will be a little bit tricky to get the power plug in when the power supply is mounted, but I still hope that everything will fit. You see, on the down left side is the power plug for the, I guess, 24 pin ATX connector. It's a little bit tricky to align the mainboard that the screw holes are over the insert point for the screws. But I guess we can manage it. So now it's time to screw it down, that it is fixed in the place, and then in the second run to go with the power supply and mount it back in. But therefore I first need the motherboard in the fixed final position. Starting with one screw is every time the beginning, and then go to the opposite side and set the second screw. Then you can put in the third and the fourth screw without any problem. It is like it is. The screws don't want to go in easy, but result is that they are in, and the motherboard is fixed on the place. The N100 only has one single RAM slot, and it's single channel, and you have at all N100 or N95 or N205 or N300 systems this problem. They just support single channel RAM, so yeah, what you buy at the beginning is where you go for and where you stay. So 16 gigabytes is, I think, enough for this kind of computer. So now it will be interesting. Will the power supply fit again in with the motherboard screwed in? It looks like. But the power connector, the ATX connector, is really on a bad position on this motherboard. It's really directly under the condensators, or what it is called in English, these parts of the power supply, the electronic parts, the big blue round ones. I don't know the English word. So the power supply fits in, that's good. Yeah, coming back to the single channel, I guess for a computer with these specs it is okay. It is for YouTube, internet, office related things, and not really meant for gaming. So does it fit or does it not fit? Seems it fits, but it's a thing of millimeters, not centimeters. The power plug sits a little bit odd. I don't know what it is. It looks for me like he sits not correct, but he sits in. It looks like that he's a little bit too high, but I guess he isn't. And yeah, I think we must go with this configuration. The processor has from the graphics Intel UHD that are XE cores with 24 execution units. Yeah, so it's not a gaming monster. You can play older titles, but you will not play newer ones on this computer. So there's additional 4-point power plug. There's also a connector on the board, so I also connect this one, and yeah, and we are done with the power and the main board. Now we need the additionals. This is one of the mentioned screws, very tiny one. Don't lose them. Yeah, first we need to screw in the spacer, which holds the distance for the NVMe SSD, and in which then the screw is screwed in. But yeah, this is no problem, you can do this by hand, and the really tiny screw It is good if you have a magnetic screwdriver that you can align them correctly, and yeah, just insert the NVMe and screw it down. That's everything you need to do. Second thing is the wireless LAN card. I've decided to go with an older one. That's a cheap wireless LAN kit with 2 antennas, and yeah, you see the RAM, just one RAM module, 32 megahertz, 16 gigabyte, and yeah, just insert it and that's everything. Line it, press it a little bit down that it snaps in. That are the motherboard connectors. For the lights, you have the HDD lights, so the NVMe lights. This is a red LED. You have the power light. This is a blue LED. Both are on the front side on the power button, around the power button, and yeah, for sure you have the power switch, which you need to connect, and with these 3 things you are done for this mainboard. Now you have on the mainboard, if you look in the documentation, you have for every connector a plus and a minus one, and yeah, normally the cable are like coded like the colored one is the plus and the white one or the black one is the minus, in this case the white one. So there's no question with alignment of the plugs. And it's really a little bit fiddly to insert them, but yeah, we will manage it. Yeah, coming back to the wireless LAN kit, it's the Deskmini wireless LAN card, an Intel one with Bluetooth and 2 antennas. It is a cheap one, yeah, the kit is under 20 euros, and it will work out for this computer. I don't need high speed, and yeah, the case only has a slot for 1 antenna, so the solution I have in mind for the second antenna to mount them inside the case, nearly on the top side, with a good tape. Yeah, gluing tape. I don't know the English word, but there are ones with, in Germany we say Gewebeklebeband, yeah, with some clothes inside, which glue really strong on the case then and will not move the antenna. I guess this will be the solution. Not the best, but yeah, it should not impact the wireless LAN connectivity, because it is it is so open, the case, so signal will also go out, so I guess no problem with that. Yeah, you see, everything comes to an end, and the cables are in for the motherboard connection, for the lights and the power switch, and now it's just what I told before, to mount the cables away that they are not over the CPU. I don't care that they look best or something like that, but they shouldn't impact the heat flow, the airflow over the CPU, or in this case not so much. Yeah, as we talked before, the wireless LAN antenna and card is now the last thing we will mount. These are the antennas, 2 of them are in the box. These are the pigtails for connecting the card. To connect the card to these pigtails is really a hard job, believe me. But mounting the card is very easy. Put it in, take the second back with the little screw and screw it in. So, lessons learned. What you should not do is that what I do, screw the card in first. That's not a good idea. The first thing you should do is to mount the pigtails to the tiny connectors on this card. It is really hard if you have the card, the wireless LAN card in your hand, and believe me, it is impossible to mount it, the pigtails, when the card is screwed in. I tried this for around 15 minutes. I don't show you that, it was really frustrating, and yeah, that what helped in the end was screwing out the card again and then mounting the pigtails. Yeah, this is the one hole you have. There you can mount one of the antennas and one of the pigtail cables. Yeah, so shown it. It's good if you have the right tools to screw it in. I don't have these tools, so I must do it by hand. It is not impossible to do it with hand, but yeah, you really don't get it 100% like it should be. I don't know how the tool is called in English. It's not a screwdriver, it's, yeah, in Germany we say Schlüssel. I don't know. You can use your fingers, but yeah, at this point it gets a little painful to bring it to a point where it is really hard in it, that it don't move anymore. But I don't care for this build. It should just work at the end. And here's one of the pigtails, and it is so tiny, the connector. You have to press it down on the card, and it had to come in. It's just a ball on the card, and don't do it this way. Don't try it. It will not work. Or maybe you are tricky and you get it. I remember on another PC it was no problem. Maybe it was a different card and it was a little bit, the mounting points different from this. But with this card, with Asrock Deskmini Wlan kit, I don't solve it. Just screw it out again and then connect it in your hands with pressure from upside and downside, and then screw the card in again. Yeah, we are really at the end. We just can close our PC and that's it. Hope it will work. This, you will know in another video, but I gave you the view in the future. It worked out because this video, what you see here, is cutted on the Asus N100 mini PC. So it worked out. It was just two things in the BIOS which I had to switch, that it boots, and I definitely will give you this information in the follow-up video. Give me some time to film it and to cut it, and it was something from the secure boot, but I need to look again. Closing the case, and then the point where you ever have strange feelings. You press the first time the power button. Will it work or not? This is every time an interesting thing, and in this case it worked out for me, and this is then the one antenna. I tried first to run the card with just this one antenna, and it worked not out for me. The wireless LAN was okay, but the Bluetooth was not as I needed it for my keyboard and mouse. And so I reopened it and put in the card, put out the card, put in the pigtail, and mount the antenna on here in the screen on the downside in the upper half, just with duct tape. And this is a solution. And here you see a profi like me recognizing that it is better to put this little, I don't know the English word, this disc on the outside, not on the inside, and then screw it other way around will not work in a standing antenna, a not moving antenna. Overall, we are nearly at the end of this video and this PC build. I hope it was interesting for you, and if you have questions to the build, please put them in the comments. The components I've used, I will put them in the video description. There are no I don't know the word. There are no links. Just use your preferred search engine or go to a retailer. The components should be available, I don't know, everywhere in the world, but definitely in Europe and North America. You will find the components for that build. So, if you managed to watch till the end, I say thank you for listening to my voice and watching to my video. And yeah, I hope if you enjoy silent PCs, you will have fun with this build. Goodbye.